What if I told you your next oil change could mean life or death for your engine? Mechanics have a decades-old secret that keeps pickups running past 300,000 miles. It's no gimmick, and it costs less than a fast food combo, yet could save you $10,000 in repairs. And in just a few seconds, I'll reveal the mid-mileage danger zone when good trucks go bad. Stick around, because section number 3 is the one that can save your high-mileage engines. Let's get started. Section 1. The mid-mileage danger zone when good trucks go bad. Let's talk about something that happens to every pickup truck between 50,000 and 150,000 miles. The mid-mileage danger zone. This is where most truck owners make their biggest mistake, and it's exactly when you need to change your entire approach to engine maintenance. Here's what's happening inside your engine during this critical period. Your truck has been faithfully burning through thousands of gallons of fuel, and all those combustion cycles have created microscopic wear patterns throughout your engine. The cylinder walls aren't as smooth as they used to be. Your piston rings have lost some of their tension. Your valve seals are starting to harden and crack. But here's the thing, your truck still runs great, so you keep treating it exactly the same way you did when it was brand new. This is where the danger lies. During this phase, your engine needs different protection than it did in its youth. The standard oil change routine that worked perfectly for the first 50,000 miles suddenly becomes inadequate. Your engine is now burning oil at a rate that's barely noticeable, maybe a quart between changes. You might see a tiny wisp of blue smoke on cold startups that disappears after a few minutes. These are warning signs that your truck is transitioning into a new phase of its mechanical life. Most truck owners ignore these subtle changes because their engines still perform well. The truck starts reliably, pulls loads without complaint, and passes emissions tests. But underneath the hood, a slow deterioration process has begun that will eventually lead to expensive problems unless you take action now. Section 2. The $4 hack that mechanics use but won't tell you. Now, here's where things get interesting. Professional mechanics who work on high-mileage vehicles every day have discovered something that the oil companies don't want you to know about. There's an additive that costs less than $4 that can dramatically improve your engine's performance and longevity. But they rarely share this information with customers. Why don't they tell you? Simple economics. If your engine lasts longer and runs better, you won't need as many repairs. That $4 investment could potentially save you thousands in engine work down the road. The additive I'm talking about contains seal conditioners and viscosity improvers that specifically address the wear patterns that develop in mid to high mileage engines. This isn't some snake oil or miracle cure. The science behind it is actually quite straightforward. As engines age, the rubber seals throughout the system begin to shrink and harden. This creates tiny leak paths that allow oil to seep past valve guides, around piston rings, and through various gaskets. The right additive contains seal swelling agents that gently restore these seals to closer to their original dimensions. But the seal conditioning is just part of the story. These additives also contain viscosity index improvers that help your oil maintain proper thickness across a wider temperature range. This is crucial for pickup trucks that work hard in varying conditions. Whether you're pulling a trailer up a mountain pass in summer heat or starting your truck on a sub-zero winter morning, the improved oil film strength provides better protection during those critical moments when engine wear typically occurs. The most effective additives also include friction modifiers that reduce the coefficient of friction between moving parts. This doesn't just improve fuel economy, it actually reduces the microscopic welding and tearing that occurs at the molecular level when metal surfaces slide against each other under pressure. Section 3. This additive saves high-mileage engines. The science behind the solution. Let me break down exactly how this additive works its magic on high-mileage pickup truck engines, because understanding the science will help you use it most effectively. When you add this treatment to your oil, several chemical processes begin immediately. The seal conditioners start working on every rubber and synthetic seal in your engine. Valve stem seals, main bearing seals, camshaft seals, and dozens of smaller seals and gaskets throughout the system. These conditioners don't just temporarily swell the seals. They actually rejuvenate the rubber compounds, restoring flexibility and sealing capability. The viscosity improvers create longer chain molecules that help your oil resist thinning under high temperatures and pressure. This is especially important in pickup trucks because they often work harder than passenger cars. When you're pulling a heavy load or climbing steep grades, oil temperatures can spike well beyond normal operating ranges. Standard oil might thin out to the consistency of water under these conditions, but treated oil maintains much better protective properties. Here's something fascinating about how these additives interact with worn cylinder walls. As your engine accumulates miles, the crosshatch pattern that was machined into the cylinder walls when the engine was built starts to wear smooth. This reduces the oil's ability to cling to the cylinder walls, which can lead to increased blow-by and oil consumption. The friction modifiers in quality additives actually help create a more tenacious oil film that better adheres to these worn surfaces. The antioxidants in these treatments are another crucial component. High-mileage engines often have less efficient PCV systems, which means more contamination builds up in the oil over time. The enhanced antioxidant package helps the oil resist, breaking down and forming harmful deposits that can clog oil passages and damage sensitive engine components. But perhaps most importantly, these additives contain detergent and dispersant compounds that are specifically formulated for older engines. Unlike the aggressive detergents in some treatments that can actually dislodge accumulated deposits too quickly and cause blockages, these gentler formulations gradually clean the engine while safely suspending contaminants until your next oil change. Still with me? Good. Because now, let's fix how you've been changing your oil wrong this whole time. Section 4. The Change Your Oil Strategy. It's not just about frequency. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Oil change intervals. Everyone knows you're supposed to change your oil regularly, but what most truck owners don't understand is that how you change your oil becomes more critical as your engine ages. For a high-mileage pickup truck, the traditional approach of simply draining the oil and installing a new filter misses several important opportunities to extend engine life. Here's what you should be doing instead. First, timing matters more than you might think. While a new engine might be perfectly fine with 7,000 or even 10,000-mile oil change intervals, a high-mileage engine benefits from more frequent changes, typically every 4,000 to 5,000 miles. This isn't because the oil breaks down faster, although that's part of it. The real reason is that older engines introduce more contaminants into the oil through blow-by past worn rings and increased fuel dilution. But frequency is just the beginning. The type of oil you use becomes crucial once your truck enters the mid-mileage zone. Conventional oil that worked fine when your truck was new might no longer provide adequate protection. High-mileage specific oils contain seal conditioners and have slightly higher viscosity to compensate for increased bearing clearances that develop over time. Here's a technique that many mechanics use but rarely share with customers: the double drain method. Instead of just draining the oil once and refilling, you drain the oil. Add about 2 quarts of fresh oil, run the engine for 5 minutes, then drain again before filling completely. This simple extra step removes significantly more contaminated oil that would otherwise remain in the engine's oil passages and galleries. The filter change strategy also needs to evolve. High-mileage engines benefit from premium filters with higher capacity and better filtration efficiency. The few extra dollars you spend on a quality filter pays dividends by removing more of the microscopic particles that cause accelerated wear in engines with looser tolerances. Section 5. Warning signs. Your truck needs this treatment. Now, let me help you determine whether your pickup truck is already showing signs that it needs this special attention. These symptoms often appear gradually, so truck owners might not notice them until the problems become serious. The first sign is usually a slight increase in oil consumption. If you're checking your oil level more frequently than you used to, or if you need to add a quarter to half quart of oil between changes, your engine is telling you that the seals and rings are starting to lose their effectiveness. Don't ignore this early warning. It's much easier and cheaper to address oil consumption when it first starts than after it becomes severe. Another indicator is changes in how your engine sounds, particularly during cold starts. If you notice more valve noise or lifter chatter that takes longer to quiet down after starting, This often indicates that oil pressure isn't building as quickly as it should. This can happen when internal clearances have opened up or when oil passages have become partially restricted with deposits. Blue smoke on startup is an obvious sign that oil is getting past valve seals, but many truck owners don't realize that intermittent blue smoke under acceleration can indicate worn piston rings. If you see smoke when you accelerate hard after driving at steady speeds, your rings are probably allowing oil to enter the combustion chambers. Oil leaks are another telltale sign, but not just the obvious drips under your truck. Look for oil seepage around valve covers, timing chain covers, and rear main seals. These areas might just appear slightly oily or dirty rather than actively leaking, but they indicate that seals throughout the engine are beginning to fail. Section 6. The Implementation Plan. How to apply this knowledge. Now that you understand the science and can recognize the symptoms, let's create an action plan for implementing this maintenance strategy on your pickup truck. Start by evaluating your truck's current condition honestly. Check your maintenance records to see exactly how many miles are on your engine and review your oil change history. If you've been following extended oil change intervals, you might want to shorten them immediately, regardless of what your owner's manual suggests. For your next oil change, choose a high-mileage specific oil and add the seal conditioner additive I discussed earlier. Don't add the additive to old oil that's near the end of its change interval. You want to give it time to work in fresh oil. Plan to run this first treatment for about 3,000 miles to give the seal conditioners time to take effect. Monitor your truck's response to the treatment carefully. Keep track of oil consumption by checking levels weekly and noting how much oil you need to add between changes. Take photos of any areas where you've noticed oil seepage so you can track whether the condition improves over time. After your first treated oil change, you should begin to notice improvements within a few hundred miles. Oil consumption might decrease, engine noise could become quieter, and you might observe less oil seepage around seals. These improvements will become more pronounced over the next several thousand miles as the treatment continues working. Section 7. Long-term results and cost analysis. The financial benefits of this approach build over time. A full engine replacement or major rebuild can cost $5,000 to $15,000, and even smaller repairs like valve seals or a rear main seal often exceed $1,000. By contrast, this preventive method is far cheaper. The additive costs less than $4, and high-mileage oil only adds $10 to $15 per change. Even with more frequent changes, annual maintenance may increase by less than $100. The real reward is engine longevity. Well-maintained trucks often exceed 200,000 miles, while neglected ones may need major repairs before 150,000. After introducing these secret oil hacks mechanics use to keep pickup trucks running like new, which trick worked best for you, and which one shocked you? Drop your comment below and share the reason why.